All right, so get ready to like dive into something kind of unexpected today, something that just might change how you think about, well, your health, relationships, even your luck.
Wow.
We're talking about the power of scent.
Okay.
And no, not just like the perfume you wear, but the scents your body naturally, gives off.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And get this, our main source for this whole deep dive is a Kuwaiti singer named Shams.
Okay.
Because, well, sometimes the most insightful perspectives come from the most surprising places, right?
Right, right.
So Shams' big question that got us thinking is, and this is wild, could your scent, especially any unpleasant ones, actually be, get this, impacting your luck?
Huh. It's like you almost don't want to know, but you have to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, is that real?
It's a question that's been echoed through cultures for centuries, but Shams brings in a modern twist, right? Like connecting it to the world of our body's microbiome, which is...
Right. For those of us who haven't, like, cracked open a biology textbook lately, break that down for us a little bit. What is the connection to scent?
Okay, so imagine this. Your body is like an entire ecosystem,
Okay.
home to trillions of bacteria, mostly hanging out in your gut. This is your microbiome.
Okay.
And it's not just some random bacteria party.
Yeah.
There's a balance of good and bad guys in there,
Yeah.
right? Good bacteria, bad bacteria.
Yeah.
Now, what Shams points out is that bad scents, especially breath, often signal that the bad bacteria are getting a little too rowdy. Like, it's an overgrowth situation.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of picturing a crowded room where someone forgot to take out the trash.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Things start to smell a little off pretty quickly.
That's a great way to put it. And Shams uses this really vivid example of leaving a piece of meat out in the open.
Oh, gosh.
You know how quickly things can go south with that, right?
Ugh, yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that our bodies are in this constant dance with bacteria, and when the balance is off, we can literally smell the consequences, which is so crazy.
Yeah. Okay, that's both fascinating and a little too visual for me.
Right.
But I get the point.
Yeah.
She also connects this bacterial imbalance to the way we live today, right? Like what we eat, our lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
And she gets surprisingly specific about what's throwing things off.
Right. Oh, absolutely. She points to things like processed foods, too much protein, which can be a surprise for people following certain diets, the overuse of antibiotics,
Wow.
even things like mouthwash.
Wait, mouthwash. You'd think that would be the solution, not part of the problem.
Right. It seems counterintuitive, but many mouthwashes use harsh chemicals that, while they might mask odor temporarily, actually wipe out both the good and bad bacteria in your mouth. It's like dropping a bomb on your oral ecosystem instead of precisely targeting the troublemakers.
Wow. So it's not a long-term fix. It's more like a cover-up.
Yeah, basically.
Which brings us back to the gut microbiome. So it's bigger than just like smelling good or bad. It's about our overall health.
Exactly. An imbalanced gut microbiome has been linked to a whole range of health issues. We're talking weakened immunity, digestive issues, mood swings, even some chronic diseases down the line.
Right.
Researchers are discovering more and more about this gut-brain connection all the time.
So ignoring our gut health is like ignoring a check engine light on a car.
Oh, yeah.
We might not feel the impact right away, but it's brewing beneath the surface.
That's a great analogy, and that's why understanding this link between scent, bacteria, and gut health is so crucial, especially for anyone who's serious about taking control of their well-being.
Totally. And this is where things get a little, out there.
Okay.
Like a little woo-woo. Because Shams doesn't just stop at the science of gut bacterian scent.
Right.
She connects it to things like luck and blessings.
It's a fascinating leap, and it's where her ideas about the aura come in.
Okay, so for those of us who haven't quite tapped into our sixth sense or anything, what exactly is an aura?
It's a concept that's been around for centuries, right?
Right.
Often described as an energy field that surrounds a person. And it's thought to reflect our physical, emotional, even spiritual well-being.
Okay.
Some people believe you can actually see auras as colors or light.
Like a visual representation of your vibe?
Yes.
Basically,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So where does scent fit into this whole aura thing?
Well, Shams believes that angels, which she associates with positive energy, are drawn to pleasant scents and, shall we say, less than enthused about, the opposite.
Not so pleasant ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So if your personal aroma is less than angelic, those good vibes are taking a detour.
That's a very simplified way of putting it. But she's essentially suggesting that if we cultivate a pleasant scent, we might attract positive energy into our lives and, by extension, maybe even a little bit of good fortune.
Okay. I'm intrigued, but I need a little more to go on than just, like, vibes and angels. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is there anything to back this up, like, beyond Shams's perspective?
Absolutely. It's fascinating to look at traditional cultures, like the Bedouins, for example.
Okay.
They lived in incredibly harsh desert conditions, right?
All right.
And yet they had all these practices centered around promoting good scents.
And this is way before, like, Febreze was invented. So what were they doing?
Exactly. Their diets were rich in aromatic herbs and spices, right?
Okay.
They used natural perfumes and incense, and they had rituals involving cleansing and purification, both for the body and their surroundings.
Interesting. It makes you wonder if those practices were about more than just smelling good. Like, maybe they understood this connection between scent and, like, well-being on a deeper level.
It's definitely a possibility. And while we might not all be ready to adopt ancient Bedouin hygiene practices, it does make you think twice about the power of those natural scents, right?
Totally.
In fact, modern science is catching on to what these traditions knew intuitively.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more research on the benefits of essential oils and aromatherapy, for example.
It's like you said, ancient wisdom meeting, like modern science.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really fascinating. So we've got the gut health angle, the spiritual aspect of scent, but how does this all play out in our, like, everyday lives,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, attracting angels is great, but what about attracting, say, a date?
Now you're speaking my language. Because Shams does not shy away from talking about the impact of bad breath on relationships. And trust me, this applies to all kinds of relationships, not just romantic ones.
Oh, I can only imagine. It reminds me of this one time. Okay, so still the T. What kind of relationship drama are we talking about here with this whole, like, bad breath situation?
Well, Shams tells the story it's all too relatable, right?
Right.
She talks about this person, successful, wealthy, seemingly had it all, but their breath, let's just say it could, like, clear a room.
Oh, no.
And this is the thing, right? Because nobody had the heart to tell them, it ended up affecting their relationships without them even realizing it, which is just, like, it's heartbreaking in a way.
Oh, that's rough. It's like that saying, like, sometimes the people closest to us are afraid to tell us what we need to hear. But it just goes to show, like, bad breath, it can happen to anyone. Like, it doesn't matter how much money or, like, success you have.
Yeah.
But it really highlights how important scent is on, like, a subconscious level.
Absolutely. We can try to deny it, but scent plays a huge role in attraction.
For sure.
And I don't just mean romantic attraction either.
Right.
Think about workplace relationships, friendships, even family dynamics.
True.
Having fresh breath and just a pleasant scent can make a bigger difference than we might realize.
It's like this secret weapon we don't even think about half the time.
So let's get practical. We've covered a lot of ground here, from gut bacteria to, like, angelic auras and, all the things. But what can our listeners actually do, like, about their scent, especially if they, like, think maybe, things might be a little off balance? Well, the good news is that Shams offers some really practical advice, right?
Okay.
And a lot of it is surprisingly simple. Like, one of her top recommendations is tongue scraping.
Tongue scraping, okay.
Okay.
I'll admit, that one, I was like, okay, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But then I tried it, and I was like, game changer. I was like, what?
Right. You wouldn't believe how much stuff can, like, build up on your tongue without you even realizing it. It's a practice that's been around for centuries in many cultures for a reason. And it's not just about freshening breath.
Right.
It actually helps enhance your sense of taste, too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like hitting the reset button on your taste buds.
Yeah.
What else is in Shams, like, I don't know, like, sensational toolkit?
She's also a big fan of using oxygenated water as a mouthwash.
Okay, now, is this something I need a prescription for? Or is this something I can just, like, buy at the store?
Nope. You can usually find it at most health food stores.
Okay.
It's basically water that's been infused with extra oxygen molecules, which can help neutralize those odor-causing bacteria.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
So we're cleaning up our oral hygiene, but we can't forget about the gut, right?
Absolutely not. And that's where probiotics and prebiotics come in.
Right.
Shams emphasizes choosing high-quality supplements and really understanding, what you're buying.
Which means doing your research, people.
Yeah.
Not all probiotics are created equal.
For sure.
And just as a reminder for our listeners, probiotics are those good bacteria that we want to introduce into our gut. And prebiotics are like the food that helps those good bacteria thrive.
Exactly. It's about creating a happy, balanced environment in your gut, which ultimately impacts everything.
Oh, right.
From your digestion to, you guessed it, your scent.
So it all comes back to the gut. It's like the control center for like well-being.
Yeah.
Any other like natural remedies that Shams recommends?
She also suggests looking into natural mouthwash alternatives, things like oil pulling, which involves swishing coconut oil or another oil in your mouth for a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've heard about that one. That one I have heard about, yeah. It
Mm.
seems a little strange, but I've heard good things.
It's one of those things that's been gaining popularity for a reason. Ancient practices often have a way of coming back around. But I think the most important thing that Shams emphasizes is that true, lasting change comes from addressing the root cause, which, as we've discussed, is often gut health.
Right. It's not just about masking the problem with, minty breath fresheners.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about like creating an internal environment where those odor-causing bacteria don't even want to be there.
Exactly. And that's a Danny, right?
Right.
That might involve looking at your diet, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, maybe even working with a healthcare professional
Yeah.
to figure out, what's going on in your unique ecosystem.
So much good stuff to think about. We've gone deep into the science of scent, explored ancient wisdom, and even like touched on a little bit of relationship advice along the way.
It really makes you realize that something as simple as paying attention to our scent, both the good and the not so good, can be incredibly revealing.
Totally, yeah.
It can give us clues about our health, our well-being, and even how we're showing up in the world, which is crazy.
It's like our scent is this hidden language.
Literally.
And once we learn to like understand it, it can tell us so much.
For sure.
So here's a final thought for our listeners to like ponder.
Hmm.
Could improving your gut health be the key to not only smelling better, but also feeling happier, healthier, and maybe even like attracting a little bit more luck your way?
Right.
Who knows?
Hmm.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, though. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and keep those good scents coming.